Hey, everybody. John here. It's Friday night, and I know anybody is doing something exciting on Friday night, but I'm here sitting in front of the computer. The few of you who are here, to be honest with you, you need to get a life too. But if you're going to make the effort to show up, I'm going to make it worth your while because I do have a special guest here with me this evening. Actually, who am I kidding? He's the only reason that I'm sitting here streaming on a Friday night. It's my good friend, Michael Bennett. Michael, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. To be honest with you, I've really missed you. I've gotten kind of into a routine since you've been on the air for the past 4 or 5 years. I would get up, I would read the paper, jump on my treadmill, put in my earbuds, and just have a great, relaxing hour run with Michael Bennett and Shannon the Dude on there.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I listened to you guys one Thursday. Everything was fine. Then the very next day, a Friday, I was getting some sort of best of show. So I've had a lot of people ask me what's going on, and you don't have to answer, but I do feel like we do. I do have to ask you that stuff that's going on with iHeart. What actually went down with that, and is there a chance that you and Shannon are going to be back on the air together again?
Well, iHeart, in their infinite wisdom, decided to raise my rate, and which I thought during a pandemic, it's kind of ridiculous to raise anything. As you know, John, last year when it was, in full force, nobody was going out. We were all condemned to our homes and not allowed to go out. I didn't charge any of my advertisers, and of course I was still charged by iHeart, and we got in a little debate about that, and then they came up with a better deal, and I accepted it, and then 20 minutes later I got a phone call saying, well, we're deciding to go another way. So I kind of felt like, wow, pretty good ethics right there. So I was ready to go back on, and unfortunately, as far as Shannon and I go on iHeart, we won't be on iHeart again, as far as that goes, at least for now. So maybe down the road sometime, but no, unfortunately, that's the part that's heartbreaking to me, because I've come to love Shannon the Dude, like a brother, and that's the heartbreaking part. So, but Shannon has been trying to convince me to do a podcast, and the only part I'm worried about that is iHeart has it against me right now, and I'm worried that iHeart would say, no, we're not going to let you do a podcast. So I don't know what we're going to do from that standpoint. I have had a couple of local other radio stations here in town that have approached me, and I'm negotiating with them right now. But the bad part is that if I do a show with one of these other radio stations, it'll be without Shannon. So it's either going to be a podcast or do another radio show without Shannon, or I've even contemplated, listen, I've had my 4 years. I've had a ball with the last 4 years, and maybe I just say, hey, that's enough of Michael Bennett, and people are sick of me. So,
Well, everybody that I've talked to says they love you and they miss you and they do want you back on the air. I agree. Shannon is so talented. He's irreplaceable. Okay.
yes.
But there are still some good things that can come out of this. And to have you on the air, one of the things I've heard people say is you've always expressed your own opinion. You've been extremely opinionated. You're not afraid to hold back. And I think the fan base needs that. We get so much of traditional media, and both you and I are a little bit outside the norm. So I think people do appreciate that, and it provides a very, very different perspective. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because I know the website is a big, big part of that brand. In fact, I want to make sure that we go ahead and publicize that. So, please check out justthecats.com
I like
website.
that.
All right.
Wow, this is really professional. I mean, my gosh, what's going on here? You got banners going on? What the heck? Wow, Dr. John Wong.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Just wait until justthecats.com springs for the paid version of StreamYard. Then we're really going to go blow it out.
No, we're not going that. No, that's going to be my biggest complaint right there. I mean, nothing against those paid versions out there. They're definitely worth it. I mean, the Athletic is worth it. I think Kyle Tucker does a great job. I think Justin Rowland does a great job. I'm not going to criticize, but I want to. My plan will always be, as long as JustTheCats is up, .com is up on the internet, that it'll always be free.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and keep our fingers crossed. I hope things are going to work out for you. Everybody that I've talked to, like I said, wants to see you back on the air. So keep at it. But I know you're busting at the seams to talk about all this news that's come forth these past couple of weeks that you've been essentially silent. I know you. Yeah, you need to vent. So I wanted to at least provide you a forum for you to be able to vent here. Remember, this is just my own private Facebook page. Nobody's listening, so feel free to say anything you want. Please speak your mind. UK's not going to find out. I promise you. So I've got just a list of topics that I know you're itching to talk about. I'm just going to run through them real quick. I'm not going to keep you that long, but we'll start out with a softball question. Brad Calipari, what do you think about him joining John on the staff? Is this good for Brad? Is this good for the University of Kentucky?
Well, I think it's good for Brad, but it's the part that I could get concerned about is Brad mature enough to do this type of position? Because there's going to be a lot of pressure on Brad. There was a lot of pressure on Brad as a player. Now Brad is an assistant coach. I hope we get away from, this is my biggest concern. You know, Brad, as the player, when he was injured, it was always about, well, what's Brad going to wear tonight? I don't flipping care what he's going to wear tonight. I'm hoping he's over that and can not worry about what he's going to wear and am I going to get any kind of attention. Brad needs to worry about the players that he's going to be overseeing and his responsibilities as an assistant coach, because this is not going to Detroit Mercy and be an assistant coach. This is the University of Kentucky. And he has to present himself in a manner that is going to be, similar to his dad's. I mean, this is a premier program, and you can't get out there and just, oh, here's what I'm going to wear. That's my biggest concern right there. Is he going to be able to overcome that? And that remains to be seen with me. So you got to prove it to me first before I'll respect.
If I hear you correctly, you're saying, is this earned and not given, right? Because in the annals of University of Kentucky sports, this isn't too different. I mean, we've had a bunch of coaches' son want to gravitate up toward their fathers and also become coaches too. It started with Adolph and Herky Rupp, and then we've got Eddie and Sean Sutton and Rick Pitino and Richard Pitino and Tubby with Gigi and Saul. Now, granted, not all of them coached under their dad at UK, but still, it's something. I know Gigi, he kind of ran into some challenges with the nepotism laws back then, but evidently UK has kind of changed those laws to the point where this is no longer a problem. It's a moot point anyway, because John Calipari essentially wields enough power that whatever he wants, UK is going to craft the laws anyway to be able to allow him to do that. Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I go back to the point where I really respected the fact that Cal didn't play his son. I mean, and if he did, it was a last few minutes or something like that. Because you didn't see that from Eddie Sutton, and we had to survive Sean Sutton. We had to survive, Tubby's son as well. And so I always respected Cal did that. I think Cal is making the right move. I know there is a little bias because it is his son, and I can't blame him for that. But listen, I say Cal's doing the right thing. He'll handle it the right way. And if it's not working out, Cal will be the one that says, listen, I'm sorry, Brad, this is not working out here. You need to go to another program if he wants to remain in coaching. So, yeah, I support Cal on this. I just hope that I go back to the maturity. I hope that Brad is mature enough to be able to put all the antics aside that he was doing as a player when he was injured and can say, listen, I'm here for the betterment of the players and the team, not myself.
Yeah, evidently he's going to be involved in some pretty significant coaching decisions too. I mean, this isn't just a token slot, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But I agree. I think it's a good move. I'm anxious to see how it plays out.
I'm not about it's a good move yet. I'm not there yet. I don't know if it's a good move.
All right.
We'll see how it comes out.
we'll say the jury is still out, but it adds an
Yes, very much
extra
so.
element of excitement and intrigue for this coming year.
Well,
Second,
and it might be, listen, that jury might be out for an entire year. It might be season 2 before I say, okay, this was a good move.
all right. All right, there was a pretty significant NIL announcement today that, in my mind, kind of went under the radar. KSR announced that they were teaming up with Pro Camps to offer a bunch of additional NIL opportunities for the UK basketball team. How do you feel about one particular media outlet being able to sponsor things like fantasy camps and fan days and autograph signings? It's almost like they have a monopoly and exclusive into the world of UK basketball. So my question to you is, first of all, do you care? And secondly, maybe even more importantly, do you think the fans of Big Blue Nation care about something like this?
Probably not. It's going to be more the media that cares about this, and if we're honest, it's going to be the media that says nothing about it because, oh, we don't want to upset another media member. We don't want to upset UK and the cart that they've got going on there. I'll be the one to say it. I don't like it. I think it's a bad move. I think it shows the biasness that University of Kentucky has for one site, being Kentucky Sports Radio, and I think that's a bad move. It should be fair for everybody. If 24/7 Sports wants to be a part of it, Cats Illustrated wants to be a part of it. If what's the news? But Cat's Paws wants to be a part of it. Why can't they be? Why does it always have to be one? And it seems like it's always that one particular one. Listen, I love Ryan Lemon. I love Drew Franklin. And I think those guys are fantastic. I think Jack Pilgrim does a great job. I think Tyler Thompson does a great job. But to only allow one website, one media source to be a part of that, I think is absolutely unfair and it's uncalled for. So yeah, I listen, I could go on a rant with this for a long time. It's of course we got the invite today. Ooh, let's go see this media conference, and KSR people are going to be, oh my gosh, I got to go. I'm not interested. And I almost sent an email to the lady, says, why would you even invite me? I have zero interest when I have my own website, my own radio show. Yeah, you can stick that where the sun don't shine.
So do you think it's a matter of money? Is it a matter of exposure, or both? Why is UK
it's
so
a combination
adamant?
of both. Yeah, it's a combination of both. I mean, listen, they do have the best website. I'll admit that. They do have the best radio show. Or say, well, they do have the most popular and listened to radio show, so you can't deny that. But to only pick one outlet to do this is ridiculous, and it should not have been allowed, and it should not be continued to be allowed. So they should let other ones have the opportunity as well. It's ridiculous.
Speaking of KSR, they're having their party tonight. Why aren't you there? You're a part of the wrestling community. I understand the entire wrestling community has been invited to that. Why aren't you there, Michael Bennett?
Oh, come on, John. You know that answer. It's one particular person that does not like me. And it's funny how he doesn't say it publicly, but I tell you what, one day the phone calls that I've received, the text messages that I've received, they'll all come out, but I'll just leave it at that. I mean, that person is unusual. I don't know why he doesn't like me. I've never understood. And it's to a point where I don't really care anymore. So I'm not interested.
All right, we'll move on then. I want to talk about Memphis and Penny Hardaway. You know, they recently signed Imoni Bates after they assigned Jalen Duren. Those are the 4th and 5th top rated recruits in the upcoming recruiting class. You know, I'm worried, Michael. I hear a lot of UK fans kind of blow that off, say, it's just Penny, until he wins something, you know, this isn't anything to be concerned about. I'm concerned. These are players that should be coming to the University of Kentucky who are going elsewhere to play. Are you worried?
Absolutely, I'm worried. And I think it's been several swings and misses by Cal, and Cal's not really coming out and saying what I would like to hear him say. Hey, we want these players at Kentucky, and for some reason we're not getting them. And I want the truth. Don't just play it over and sweet talk it over. These are huge misses that should not be going to Memphis. Memphis does not have the history the University of Kentucky does. I don't care if Penny Hardaway played at the NBA level. So what? You look at the amount of money, the contracts that Cal has created for players within the NBA. That's your proof in the pudding, and now we're losing them. So it's a huge concern, and I think you can't help but blame Cal for all this. So
well, I think,
and here's what's going to happen. If Penny does not win, then you're going to see, okay, Memphis is going to question, ooh, what's going on here? Maybe he's not quite the coach we thought he was, which I'm predicting right now. Listen, I'll grow a beard if, which I don't. Beards aren't my taste, but they look good on some guys, just not me. But I would grow a beard if they win a national title. I mean, I would. I mean, you tell me something else. I'd give up sugar for life if they win a national title. I'll do all kinds of stuff. So, but no, I just think there's no way they're going to win a national title. I mean, he came straight out of a travel team, and now he's the head coach at a Division I so-called powerhouse. No, it's just not going to happen.
Well, I think the telling thing may not be so much what they do, but I think the telling thing may be what Cal is going to be able to accomplish this coming year, because Kentucky is in the running for so many of the top-rated recruits this year. So if this is a year that Cal is going to be able to get some sort of super class and kind of restore this program's tradition of always being able to get the top players, this is going to be the year. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of recruiting this year.
Let me say this, though. If that does happen, is it Cal that got him, or is it Orlando Antigua?
Or Brad Calipari, right?
Next question.
All right, let's move into something that you're fired up about. I know you love football more than basketball. You can just go ahead and say that right now. But the biggest news out of the football team came with what went on off the field, the fight between the 6 football players and the fraternity guys. You know, this is all new to me, Michael. I was a nerd. I didn't play any sports in college. I wasn't part of a fraternity. You probably did both. I know you were athletic. You played sports. You were probably a frat boy too. You know, is this common for football players and fraternity guys to fight all the time? Is this much ado about nothing?
Well, yeah, they're listen, it's always alcohol involved, and then with alcohol, it's always escalated. I think it's a travesty this has happened. I'm sorry that it's happened. I hope that this can blow over and we can move forward. But yeah, you just can't have people busting into apartments. If that's the case, I'm sure we're hearing a little bit of truth and a lot of lies out of both sides. So, and we'll never know what the truth of the matter is. And hopefully we can all get along, as somebody said years ago, and move forward, and all can be forgiven. And then hopefully these guys on the football team can learn their lesson and not get themselves in that kind of position. That's the part I'm really disappointed. You know, this has been a tough 3 or 4 months for Mark Stoops and the entire Kentucky football team. What all has happened there between a DUI, spousal abuse, and then 6 players getting into this kind of trouble. It's an issue, and I have to say, I think Mark Stoops has done a phenomenal job, and this is a lot of pressure on him. He didn't sign up for, nor does he need. But that's the problem with the football team. You have so many players, you can't control all of them, unlike a basketball team. You can keep an eye on that entire team, where they are and what's going on. Football team, you can't do that. I mean, there's a lot of players out there, and I will say, I admire Mark Stoops and how he's handled all this pressure, and it's been a lot of pressure on him.
What's your feeling specifically about Vito Tisdale and the gun? You know, whether he had a gun or not, whether he brandished the gun or not, where does that play into how you feel like all this is going to come down? Because the case is being presented to the grand jury.
Yeah, I have no idea. So I really don't know. I mean, because again, you're getting partial truths and a lot of lies. So we might not ever know what the truth is. And I wish him the best. I hope that he's learned his lesson. I hope he's able to come back to the football team and be productive.
All right, enough of that negative news. Let's move on to the positive. Were you still on the air when Will Levis was given the starting job at quarterback? I didn't catch what your thoughts were on him. Well, we now have a starting quarterback. Your thoughts on Will Levis? Everything that I've heard out of camp is this is the guy's got the strongest arm ever in the history of the program. Not only does he throw it deep, but evidently he's learning and practicing to throw it accurate now out of the backfield, all sorts of patterns. He can do it. What have you heard? What are your thoughts on Will?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, great, he's got a strong arm. Do we have anybody to catch it? I think that's been the biggest concern as wide receiver. I've talked about that for the last year and a half, and that's great. He's got a strong arm. Can he throw accurately? So you might have a strong arm, but you might be in motion and not be able to get it in the pocket that he needs to get it in the pocket. So we keep hearing, hey, Steven Johnson, great quarterback, great quarterback. Well, he was an okay quarterback that won a lot of games. Terry Wilson, great quarterback, great quarterback. What an athlete. I'm still looking for him to pass an accurate ball. Listen, I was hopeful with Joey Gatewood. I mean, I really thought Joey Gatewood was going to be the player. And listen, I had a nice long conversation with him that I talked about on the radio. And I was very hopeful for him. And then unfortunately turn around and a few days later, he's at Central Florida. Will Levis, we're going to have to see. I mean, I like him. I think he's a mature young man. I think it's impressive that he came in here and in such a short time period, not even being here for spring practice, can get the starting position. That's either that he's really good or we were really bad at your back. So I'm a little concerned about that. We'll see what happens. I don't think we're going to see him throw the first game that much. I think they're going to keep a lot of that to a minimum. And you're going to see a lot of Cavassier smoke and the rest of the running backs. But I think we'll see some passes that second game when we see Missouri come to town.
I actually respect your opinion now, Michael, especially about quarterbacks. I remember last year you were the first one to tell me that Kentucky really didn't have the quarterback that they needed in Terry Wilson. Great guy, he can run, he can move, but he just couldn't throw. And you were one of the first to get on that bandwagon. I said, no, he's the one for Kentucky. And now, with the benefit of hindsight, I can look back and say you were right, I was wrong. In fact, during this entire 30 minutes or so, you've been so professorial. You know, you seem like you know what you're talking about. If people didn't know you and they just tuned in, they would brand you as a true bona fide expert on UK sports. All right?
No. I mean, I take pride in that. I'm the least informative UK show out there. I take pride in that, but it's a different role, and somebody asked me the question. So I guess I look intelligent because I'm answering.
Yeah, you really seem smart. So I don't know what to do. You've kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So we'll end with this then. Now that you've established so much credibility.
Already done? What the heck, man? I haven't even been on in 3 weeks.
It's past my bedtime. I want to know your prediction for this year. I want you to go on record right now. We're a week from the beginning of the season. We got 12 games. What's Kentucky going to do? In fact, let's go ahead and just run through the games real quickly. You tell me win or lose. All right?
All right.
Louisiana Monroe.
Win.
All right. Then next one, people say this is make or break. Missouri, what's going to happen there?
Win. It's a win.
Right. Chattanooga, UT Chattanooga.
Win.
Cats go on the road. South Carolina.
Win.
Right. So that's 4-0 so far. Then they come up to the meat of the schedule, that 3-game stretch. You got, I think it's Florida first, right? Florida at home.
Loss.
LSU.
Loss.
Georgia.
Loss.
So they win their first 4. They lose their next 3. They're 4-3, heading down to Starkville, Mississippi State. It's going to be a crucial game.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a loss as well. And that's going to be one of those things because it seems like every year, the past few years, we've always played a stinky game somewhere. With a game that should have been a win. And, you know, we've seen it with Ole Miss. We've seen it with Missouri. We've seen it with Tennessee. I think that that game that was like, how did we do that we didn't show up? I think it's going to be that Mississippi State game.
I know you can't predict less than 8-4. So in my mind, you're thinking Kentucky's going to run the table the rest of the year, right? What do we have? You got Tennessee, you got Vanderbilt, you've got another stinky team, New Mexico State or something like that, and then the Cards, the Dirty Birds. So you think Kentucky will win all of that 8-4, go to an okay bowl game, and possibly finish the year at 9-4. Success,
Yes.
not success. Would you be happy with that?
I would be happy, a little on the disappointed side. Still looking back, it's like, how are we ever going to get to that upper echelon within the SEC East? We've got to beat Florida on a regular basis. We've got to beat, one of these days, we've got to beat Georgia. We've got to beat the team in the West, and here we're going to lose 2 games is what I'm predicting from the West with Mississippi State and LSU. We got to beat these teams. I mean, if we want to be respected, if we want to be ranked like I think we should, we've got to win those games. And I'm not saying it's going to be a total loss with LSU or Florida. I still believe it'll be really close, and I still think we should have a chance to win, and we should win. I'm just predicting they're going to lose. I don't think it's going to be close with Georgia. So, and then we're going to go down to Mississippi State, Starkville, Mississippi, where, we manhandled them last year. It wasn't even a close game. It was an entertaining game because we blew them out. But I just feel like we're going to go down there, and Mike Leach is going to have our number that day for some reason. It's just kind of how I feel. It's just like, I don't understand how you have a really good team, and for some reason, we just lose all thought, all process, all preparation to play a team like that. We could beat them easily.
All right. I still can't decide whether I like this smart Michael Bennett or not. I might want to do Michael Bennett back. All right. But Michael, I really appreciate it. I hope
and I need a smart ass on the other side. That's why. Shannon was the smart ass that would always tick me off, and I'd get pissed off about something. That's you're not that way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why. So I don't know.
Well, there's only one Shannon, but I hope this has been therapeutic for you. I hope you feel a little bit better right now. And like I said, so many people have sent so many great greetings your way. I'm going to pray for you. How are you doing physically, emotionally?
Yeah. Physically, I'm doing great. I mean, I've lost almost 20 pounds the past month. And so that's been good. I'm trying to eat right, exercise. I mean, I'm doing as best I can. As everybody knows, that I do struggle with anxiety and depression. There's certainly been a lot of anxiety through this. I mean, as I tweeted not too long ago, this show has been therapeutic for me. And I'll go as far as saying it has definitely saved my life. It's heartbreaking. I mean, to know that Shannon and I will probably never work again together. I mean,
don't say that. I mean, never say never.
Well, you're right about that. But I mean, it breaks my heart because I miss him. I love him dearly. I love doing the show. I felt like we had some huge momentum. More and more people were calling every day. And the crazy part is since the show stopped, I've gained, I don't know how many Twitter followers. I mean, and Facebook.
You need to quit more often. Right?
Exactly. So, but I've had a number of people, including my oldest son, who was like, he was a little bit on the embarrassed side that I did this ridiculous show and his dad acts like a goof. And then he sat me down a couple of times. In fact, we had lunch day before yesterday. And he says, Daddy, I just love the fact that, as much as I hate you doing that show and how you act, it helped you. And he said, I want you to continue. And then I go to the state fair last night, and this young man starts yelling my name. And I'm like, am I supposed to know him? Or I didn't know who he was. And the boys are yelling, hey, Dad, this guy's calling you. And he introduced himself. He just said, I really miss your show, and wanted my picture with him. And then as I'm walking away, and I thank the young man for getting my picture with him, my oldest son, Max, goes, see, that's why you can't quit. And he goes, you've put too much effort into this show. And he says, it's the worst thing that would ever happen if you quit. I mean, I just, the people that have sent me direct messages, long, and I'm talking long emails, 5 or 6 paragraphs long, just saying what the show meant to them. It's been hard to read. It's meant a lot to me though in the end, and I just really appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you've come to Louisville, taking me out to lunch. Larry Vaught calls me almost every day. Oscar Combs calls me all the time. Again, I'm going to mention it again, Kyle. Cal Tucker has, texted me a few times. How you doing? And I just am amazed that people have done that and what it's meant to them. And then they're encouraging me not to stop and to find another outlet, if it's a podcast or another radio show. And because as you know, John, I've almost said, maybe that's enough for Michael Bennett, and we need to find another Michael Bennett. But it's been appreciated.
I'm a huge mental health advocate, as you know, and I realize the effect it has, the positive effect of being on the radio and being in UK media has had on you. So, you know me, I've always encouraged you to go that route, but ultimately you need to do what you're comfortable with. I just hope that we make the right decision from that standpoint. From a selfish standpoint, justthecats.com, Just the Cats radio brand,
yeah, well,
we got the world
yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a couple of radio stations, as I mentioned earlier, that are talking to me. We're in the midst of some negotiating, and so we'll see what happens. Next week's going to be a big week. I thought we would have had it completed by this week. Unfortunately, it's been delayed a little more, and we'll see what happens. But I believe it or not, I wasn't going to go to the game. I was just going to go down to St. Pete and spend a few weeks. But as I've been battling a little bit of a health issue, I've got to stay up here in Louisville, and I signed up for a credential today. So
all right.
Hopefully UK approves me. And if they do, I'm going to do what Larry Vaught wanted me to do and wear my Just the Cats jacket to the first home game next weekend.
All right. Well, certainly prayers up from that. All right. Well, I appreciate you. I've got a few minutes left. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. First of all, make sure you go and check out justthecats.com on the website.
Yes,
a lot of unique information there. As you know, Michael, I've got a new book coming out. It's going to be released October 19th, right after Big Blue Madness. It's called Kentucky Passion. I talk about 52 of the most iconic moments in University of Kentucky basketball history. I just set up a Facebook page. It's called Kentucky Passion, of all things. I'd appreciate it if everybody goes there, like it, share it, invite other friends to it. And then we're going to do a lot of fun things. We're going to have some prizes and some trivia and really have a great build up for the actual release on October.
It's one of those iconic moments the night I asked about the bench not scoring any points after beating Kansas. Is that one of the iconic moments?
Well, I don't think you were mentioned specifically in that, but there is a chapter devoted to the University of Kansas, obviously, one of our biggest rivals from that standpoint. So, all right. So, Kentucky Passion Facebook page. Go ahead and check that out. Michael, love you, man. All right.
Same here, John. Thank you.
All right. Bye.